sports book. You play to win the game.
Coming at you live in the heart of Lincoln, America.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
On air and online at theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clearing.
We are back in better than ever here on the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 The Ticket. Thanks for joining us today. We've got plenty of sports to talk, Husker-related sports. As we know, that's kind of what you guys kind of dig, so we'll kind of do that. Of course, Matt Rhule was at the podium earlier today. We'll jump into those quotes here momentarily, but really wanted to start off real quick with a transfer portal update for the Husker fans that have been hoping for news. It's not related to Nebraska, but it is related to the Big Ten. Jamison Battle, who was probably one of Minnesota's better players, committed to Ohio State. And you know, I remember when he entered the transfer portal, Eric Strickland said he'd be a good get for Nebraska, a good target. Nothing really ever materialized there as far as Nebraska going after him. It would have been, he's a good player.
That would have been pretty good.
But you did note one thing about him going from Minnesota to Ohio State.
Yeah, he went from the worst team in the Big Ten to the second worst team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, big steps.
So good on you, Jamison Battle. But not to make fun of him too much. I mean, hopefully it's a better situation for him, and whatever he's trying to accomplish, he can accomplish. But it's just a funny move.
Yeah,
like from the outside looking in, it looks funny.
And of course, Ohio State did struggle this season, but if you're talking about program ranking wise in the Big Ten, they'd be quite a bit higher. But just how the standings kind of played out. Yeah, Ohio State was pretty bad, although they did make a little run in the Big Ten tournament. If you remember
just a smidge.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun.
Not as cool as a run of Penn State, but yeah, a little bit of a run.
Yeah, it was something. Hunter Dickinson, of course, former Michigan big man, meeting with Kentucky through Zoom today. So that's something to kind of pay attention to. Probably the biggest name in the portal. Also, one that is related to Nebraska. This was yesterday's news, but if you didn't hear, Kerr Friesa, who had visited Nebraska, point guard who was transferred from Arizona, named after Steve Kerr, not related, as committed to West Virginia. So he will not be coming to Nebraska.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, it happens. Nebraska's not going, they've got, visits from different guys, but they're not going to be winning all those battles in the offseason. Hopefully they can put together a pretty good squad. I think they will, because they've got some returning guys, so they just kind of need to pepper in some big playmakers there, and we'll see kind of how that works. That's modern day college football. That's how it's going to happen. Also, out of the transfer portal news in college football, this also happened yesterday, but I thought it was interesting. Minnesota's Trey Potts transferred to Penn State. Penn State already one of the best units as far as running back units in the conference. So he must have some pretty good. I mean, he just must believe in himself pretty well.
That's weird, because I would have thought he'd be the starter at Minnesota with Muhammad Ibrahim moving on, especially with him. He filled in for Ibrahim that year that he got injured, and he was pretty solid.
Yeah.
I just assumed he would be the starter at Minnesota. Maybe things going on behind the scenes. Maybe they brought in somebody who looks like they're going to take the job from him. I don't know, but it's a weird situation. Or maybe he doesn't believe that they're using him correctly, or he's getting enough carries. But still, a strange decision from a very talented running back to go to, as you said, one of the better running back rooms in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going somewhere to start. Because Singleton is one of the best young running backs in the nation.
Yeah.
He had over 1,000 yards last year. Trey Potts, for what it's worth, with Minnesota, had 474. Not bad. 3 touchdowns as part of, like you said, backing up Mohamed Ibrahim at times. But Singleton, just a freshman.
Do you know what his first name is?
Who's that?
Trey Potts? It's Trayson. Trayson Potts.
He just goes by Trey.
He just goes by Trey.
Yeah. No, I didn't know his full name was Trayson.
Yeah. So last year in 2021, he played in 5 games, had 112 attempts in those 5 games, for 552 yards and 6 touchdowns. I think that's pretty good.
He's a pretty good running
back. I think that's pretty solid.
But it's not just Singleton at Penn State. Katron Allen, their backup, also a freshman. So it's not like he's waiting out the guys to graduate or anything either. He had 867 yards and 10 touchdowns. So they got 2 freshmen. I mean, that's just to me,
You're not starting
among the
over
worst places
them.
to transfer if you're looking for playing time. I don't know exactly
what he's trying to
what
do.
he's doing there, but Trey Potts just adding to the stacked running back room that they have at Penn State. Nebraska feels like they've got a pretty good running back room themselves.
And you wouldn't even say that he's like a receiving back, like that he would go and, switch to receiver like a slot guy, because in his time at Penn State, his 4 years at Penn State, he only had at Minnesota, he only had 9 receptions. That's it.
Yeah.
In a decent amount of games.
Maybe we should investigate, see if his girlfriend goes there. Because usually it's the girlfriend.
In 24 games, he had 9 receptions. That's not great.
Yeah. Although Minnesota doesn't pass.
They don't really
pass.
They didn't really throw all that much.
Yeah. So there's that too.
He played in 5 games 2 years ago. This last season, he played in 12 games, only had 101 carries, but had 471 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he averaged 4.7 yards per carry, where the year before, when he had 552 yards, he averaged 4.9. So it's not like he wasn't being used. I mean, 101 carries.
Yeah.
It's not like he wasn't being used. I don't know. I still thought he was going to be the starter. I mean, Mo Ibrahim is gone. That's the guy that was your workhorse back. That's the guy that got, 500 carries in a single season. He's gone. Trey Potts, I assume, was next in line, but I guess not.
Well, it's strange because I don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. There are running back, their only other running back who ran for 250 yards. Bryce Williams was a senior last year. It's hard to track those things. Maybe he got a COVID year or something. But
was he a senior? Well, on Trey Potts, it goes freshman, sophomore, senior.
No junior year.
No junior year. Doesn't exist. And it's not like it's skipping year, 19, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's confusing.
But I mean, that's notable. I know it wasn't notable that Trey Potts, I mean, we knew he was in the transfer portal already, but for Minnesota, just fun to track because obviously that's Nebraska's first opponent. Speaking of Nebraska football, let's jump into some of the Matt Rhule talk today. He talked about some individual players. So it's kind of fun to break that stuff down, but we'll start with just kind of some overall thoughts from Matt Rhule before we jump into the individual players. Interestingly, today is the final day of practice until Tuesday. So that's kind of a jump, a little bit of a break there. So he was asked, are they shut down until Tuesday or will there be some team events until then? Here's what he had to say.
We have tonight. We have a team event every Thursday night. Every Thursday night we do something with the guys can bring their girlfriends or a family member. We bring our families, those of us who have families here. Tonight we're doing home run derby at the softball field with a dinner. I can promise you, before cell phones, I would have tried to hit a ball, but now with cell phones, you can't because everything goes viral. And then tomorrow we have meetings and liftings, and then I expect them all to go to class. And then they're shut down Saturday, Sunday. We have the training room open Saturday, mandatory for some guys, optional for others, depending on where they are status-wise. Sunday they're off like they always are. Then Monday we'll be right back 6 a.m. lift day meetings. So I just meant more like on the field. But yeah, hopefully guys have a chance to get away a little bit and or just kind of kick it here. Who knows? Like watch the Masters like I'll do. So.
So a little bit of team activity going on. I do always
still lifting.
Yeah.
Just no on the field practices.
I like the softball park home run derby. That's a pretty cool idea too.
That seems pretty. Who do you think's going to hit it the further? Who do you think hits it out? Because the thing is, just because you're big, I don't know if you can swing a bat.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. I mean, we'd have to do our homework to really tell because a lot of these guys, multi-sport athletes, but I don't know like who had a baseball scholarship. I'm sure there's a few of them on the team.
Oh, there's got to be.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a couple people on there that at least played baseball in high school. I don't think you're going to see very many home runs.
No.
Yeah, I think you might see a lot of swing and misses.
Some guys hit for contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they should open it up to the public.
Did we have? I know we had Brant Banks is gone now, but him and Nuri take some swings at Haymarket.
Yeah. That'll be fun. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. The other thing I noted there is the invite your girlfriend thing. I always feel kind of, I've been in those positions. We've all been in that spot where Valentine's Day comes around. You don't have a girlfriend. A little bit awkward.
Everybody else is just like, hey, this is my girlfriend. You're just like, hey, this is my dog.
I brought my friend because I couldn't find anybody else.
All of my friends are on the football team. I don't know.
I didn't have anybody to bring. So hopefully no awkward situation for anybody there. But I'm assuming with like some of the new guys, maybe you haven't met anybody.
Maybe some of the early enrollees. I mean, they've only been here for 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have met.
There's enough time to meet somebody, but I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Is it introducing her to the
that's like
to the whole team?
Introducing to the parents stuff?
Yeah.
Is it
Here's
time?
my head coach.
Is it time yet to bring the girlfriend to the team?
Should you meet my teammates?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know if we're at that stage yet. So that's kind of some fun stuff, tracking what Nebraska's going to do in the coming days. Here's Matt Rhule, who's asked what the world potential means to him and his staff. Obviously, that's the word that gets thrown around a lot, basically regardless of where you're at, because obviously you want to see that come to fruition. Here's what Coach Rhule said.
Yeah, we talk a lot about intentionality. That's something Terrence Knighton always talks about. The way I phrase it is we believe in two types of practice. We believe in deliberate practice and deep practice. And I always tell the guys, like, if you can't hit a driver, you go to the golf course and work on your putting. No, right? So you work on the things you need to work on. So we want guys to be very intentional, right? Very intentional about what they're working on. Very intentional about being in the moment. We don't want to waste their time. Right. So a lot of times you can just say, hey, be here for 3 hours. Like we practiced a long time. Like, I just practiced for over 2.5 hours. Right. Which is not really what people do nowadays. But that's intentional because I want to teach them how to concentrate for a long time. Some days we'll practice for an hour and a half. Right. But right now we're trying to teach them how to concentrate for long periods of time. So I just think, being intentional about everything. I'm happy to always explain the why to the guys. Like, hey, coach, why are we doing this? 100%. I'll tell you why. So, if that's one of the basic things in our program, just being really intentional, everything that we do, so we get the desired result in the long run.
So they hear Matt Rhule talking a little bit about the potential for Nebraska. Terrence Knighton getting a shout out there as well. I tell you what, we've got plenty more Matt Rhule quotes. If you are joining us via stream, that's the way to do it, because right now we have Royals broadcasting over our airwaves. So if you want to check out the Royals game, you can do that. If you want to listen to some Nebraska sports talk,
that means the school year
you can do that as well.
And
we've got some music, and we've already got some commercials.
Yeah,
Should I get that rolling?
That's gonna happen. No, I don't think so.
All right. Tell you what, we're a little bit confused, but this is a little bit of new stuff we're doing here at the Ticket. But we love bringing the Royals. But we're going to keep our local programming there for you guys to be able to hear us when we can. But a little bit of a technical difficulty will work out real quick, and then we'll be right back here on the Ticket Water Cooler.
It's April, and that means the school year's almost over and summer road trips are on the horizon. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride, as summer road trips are just around the corner. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Tailored Landscapes is actively preparing for spring. Things like getting new tree orders, getting equipment ready, and training staff to serve you the best way. You already planned, now is the perfect time to figure out a maintenance plan for your yard. We're on the brink of spring cleanups for all of our existing customers and have limited spots left. We trim trees and shrubs when needed and only mulch proper amounts. Give us a call today at 402-432-2572 to set up a meeting with one of our designers and get ready for Tailored Life's grand opening in Bennett.
Are you looking for a solid, stable career in assembly, CNC machining, or injection molding? We got you covered. Hi, Bob Williams, HR Director for Garner Industries, a world-class manufacturer with a 70-year history right here in Lincoln. And I just listed some great career opportunities that you can find by logging into GarnerIndustries.com. If you want top pay, excellent benefits, flexible work hours, and the opportunity to work in a clean, modern, air-conditioned facility with great people, contact me today by applying online at GarnerIndustries.com.
Spring is here. It's time to get back outside and into proper shoes this year. Brown Shoe Fit is the place to buy this spring with their sale on athletic shoes. Get $10 off any athletic shoes $105 and under, and get $15 off any shoe over $105. Choose from respected brands like Hoka, Brooks, New Balance, On, and 361 Running. And don't forget the trendy Hey Dudes. A new shipment just arrived for the season. Start your spring off right at Brown Shoe Fit, just south of 56 and Q in Lincoln. Too many people believe that chronic pain, allergies, or illness are permanent and something stuck with. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness has been proving that narrative wrong for 29 years and changing lives for the better in the process. Their team is trained in the newest, most advanced pain-relieving techniques and ways to deal with toxins, allergies, pollution, and emotion that make you ill. Call today for a free consultation at 531-254-5695 or go to NovotnyNutritionandWellness.com. Novotny Nutrition and Wellness, located at 7th and Superior.
Motor Food is Lincoln's hardest rocking food truck and cafe. Motor Food creates old school comfort food with a 21st century twist and lots of rock and roll attitude. Try the barbecue pulled pork mac and cheese, chicken Firebird sandwich, a 100% all beef split grilled hot, and any version of their funky fries. Stop by the cafe just behind Outback Steakhouse on 48th Street, or catch the food truck out and about all spring and summer. Check out their menu, order carryout, or schedule catering at motorfoodtruck.com.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
A mix of sun and clouds at times today, but much warmer as we'll top out near 60. South-southwest winds at around 15 to 20. Overnight mainly clear with a low down to around 35. Even warmer tomorrow with a high of 68 as south winds will be gusting 25 to 30. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the Ticket Water Cooler, 93.7 The Ticket. Of course, as I was before we went to break, we are only the Ticket Water Cooler only on your Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, streams. I believe still on the Allo cable as well. So I mean, there's still a lot of ways to find us. We just our radio broadcast is going with the Royals, and this is something we'll be doing moving forward. We like to be able to get our shows in, talk Husker sports, and for those that want to reach out and see that sort of thing, and follow along with us every day, we're going to continue doing that. But we do also are very happy to have the Royals back in 93.7 The Ticket, so we're going to play those games as well. Before we went to break, we were talking some Matt Rhule, actually hearing from his press conference today as he was going through a few different things. We've got a few more sound bites, and we'll continue going through those. Again, this is the Ticket Water Cooler. I am Bach. He is Rico. Let's go with Matt Rhule today. If you want to know today's message at practice, let's hear what Matt Rhule had to say. What did they focus on today?
The message today was kind of like, it doesn't get easier. You know, I think some of us sometimes, you know, in life, we start to look for the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, this is just the beginning. You know, spring practice will never be this easy again. You know, when I say easy in a good way, like we'll get better and better and better. You know, just worry about the next play and try to get that mindset instead of, hey, let me get through this and get to, you know, a couple of days off here that I gave the guys this weekend. So, they've had 5 days. I told them to come back Tuesday, ready to go. You know, I really believe one of the greatest gifts we can give these guys as they go on to be, pro athletes or pros and whatever they choose to be, is the self-awareness to own your work ethic, right? So we have a lot of guys who make mistakes on the practice field, and you know, I told them, hey, you have a playbook, you know, you have video, you go study. So you get to the National Football League, you know, and you get cut on Monday and you get signed by somewhere on Wednesday. You know, Christian McCaffrey, you know, he got traded on Thursday. I think he played that weekend, you know, or pretty soon thereafter. So can you learn things really quickly? So just a challenge to those guys to take care of their bodies over the next week, over the next couple of days, learn the playbook better. And then we believe that any place a Nebraska football player shows up, it should be a better place. So to do things right and do things really well the next couple of days and show back up on Tuesday.
You just hear the standard that he holds this football team to is and how accountable they will be. I mean, this is that's good stuff to hear. Again, it's Matt Rhule, so you only expect him to be able to verbalize good stuff. So you got to kind of watch out for that. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought it was also interesting how he kind of went into the playbooks, jumping into the playbooks, because that's something you can do on your day off. Something that they're probably, I don't know when they were handed out necessarily. Or like how long they've been able to dive into those, but obviously getting more into the full swing of actually running through the plays is, you know, some of it's probably new to him. He was mentioning guys making mistakes there. So here's Coach Matt Rhule talking about how much he wants the team to dive into the playbooks in these next couple of days where they don't have on-field practice.
Yeah, I think it's individual to each guy, right? It takes what it takes. And so, you know, there's some, you know, one of the most dangerous things is when guys kind of know what to do. So they can kind of do it. Like you can't figure out how to do your job until you know what your job is. And so we have a lot of guys still at that level one, like trying to learn what it is. And we can make excuses for them, but we're just trying to change the expectation level of our guys, right? Like we're not here to try hard. We're not here to lose and thank the fans. We're here to win. And so winning, it happens now. It doesn't happen in the fall. So the guys who really know their jobs really well, guys who we got some walk-on players who should probably be on scholarship. You know what I mean? So it's like, you are what you produce. And so I just want the guys to understand, like, hey, I own the way I practice. I own someone has a phone. I own the way that I practice. I own the way that I prepare. I own the result, right? And so the whole, like, coach didn't give me a chance, or, coach, trying to get rid of all that. I think when you give that gift to young people that we're in control of our futures, they can take off.
Very interesting stuff, especially hearing some walk-ons that should be on scholarship. Now they're already over scholarship limit.
Yep. Let's just add more scholarships and kick some people off.
That's right.
Heck yeah.
Let's give that would be quite a message to be sent. Is maybe a couple walk-ons earn the scholarship and a few more guys out the door.
Look, this guy walked on. He earned a scholarship. You're gone. Sorry about it, buddy. But kind of going back to the playbook thing real fast is with these days off, with the no practice on the field, at least with just lifting and getting in the film room and everything, doing things on your own, getting into the playbook and making sure that you have everything to the best of your knowledge for this new staff is going to be impactful. And you're really going to see, I bet they test them on Tuesday with some of the things maybe in the later pages of the playbook or whatever. I don't know how the playbook's look. There's probably still pages. I don't think it's online.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcome damage.
With the pages in the playbook and just going to the later stages of that and all of that fun stuff. I'm sure that they'll probably test them on Tuesday just to see who has dedicated themselves to getting better and has dedicated themselves to performing at the highest level possible. And then going on to the walk-ons that need scholarships. I'm sure there's a ton of guys who have played their way into a lot more snaps. But as you just said, they are already over on scholarships. I don't think you're going to get one of those heartwarming videos of a walk-on getting a scholarship anytime soon.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually you do get those, and there's going to be guys that are going to rise up to that level, and we'll see how they kind of work with that. Now, you don't usually work with that during the spring. I mean, this is usually once guys are like getting full playing time, and it's a heartwarming story, and sometimes you get that in the spring too. But it's interesting still. I think that is kind of the backdrop as we're looking at all this, the Nebraska practice, and we eat up all this stuff, and there's still going to be the spring game. Is that there's still going to be some big news that's not going to be great for everybody when they have to get down to 85 scholarships. Or, like I've been holding my fingers, is that Nebraska announces some big NIL deal and gets to keep everybody. But, you doubt that that's going to be the case. It's somewhat of an – that's why I feel like feels like an NFL camp, because there are guys that just aren't going to make the team, which is interesting. And we'll see how all that plays out. I haven't really heard any news on that side. So it sounds like everybody that's there at practice at least feels like they have a pretty good chance or wants to fight it out and give it a shot. As people have pointed out before, for some guys, it's not going to mean you're going to lose your scholarship. You can go on and not play football and keep your scholarship. For other guys, might want to find a new place to play because that's what they're doing in college. That's what they want to do, is play more football. So it's yet to be seen, but we'll see how it kind of plays out. And it's going to be unlike any other spring game, I think, for fans even to kind of do their own diagnosis.
Yeah, and something that we kind of determined already, if anybody's worried about the buy-in or anything, I don't think the coaches are, or the players or anything like that, but if any of the fan base is worried about the buy-in, just think about it this way. If these guys weren't bought into being Nebraska football players and playing for the University of Nebraska, they wouldn't still be here, because they know that the scholarship, they're over the scholarship limit. They know that by the end of this, before fall camp starts, that I don't know what they're at. Probably like 15 of them are going to be gone. 20 of them are going to be gone because they need to get down to that 85 scholarship limit. So everybody is here wanting to play for Nebraska and pushing themselves even harder than they've probably ever pushed themselves before, because once it comes down to it, probably after that spring game, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be asked to relinquish their scholarships and possibly enter the transfer portal. And by that time, joining a new team, I mean, good luck. It's going to be rough. I mean, there's going to be plenty of teams looking for people, and I'm sure that there's Nebraska might, look back into the transfer portal for a couple key pieces that they think they might be missing. But in terms of, if you're not already like a solidified starter or solidified backup, if you haven't played a ton at the University of Nebraska or at whatever university, once you enter that transfer portal after spring practices are over, it's going to be tough finding a spot to land where you're actually going to get more playing time than you were getting wherever you're transferring from.
But it's also too. I think if generally if you're talking about like cutting 3 or 4 guys, and I don't want to say cutting. I guess that's the NFL
it's not
terminology.
Cutting. There's no cutting.
If you're not going to be having 3 or 4 guys on your team the next year, and they have to enter the transfer portal, you can kind of see that maybe is I guess I don't be nice about it, but like dead weight. It's just guys that haven't lived up to the scholarship that were hoping that they would progress into. But with 15 guys, like there's going to be some pretty good guys.
Yeah,
like I'm not like top of the depth chart or guys that maybe that I'm sure that the top names that you're kind of thinking about contributing to Nebraska are all going to be there. I'm just saying like some pretty good prospects, some pretty good maybe guys that have seen a little bit of playing time. So it'll be interesting to see. Like you said, not just from the Nebraska side, but for their side, how it goes. And I don't know. Again, you kind of get these mixed feelings of is this approach great for the kids? I'm not really sure, but I think it is great for the football team. I mean, because like you said, it's that competitive spirit. You can't fake. Some of you guys might not be here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
real.
That's a big thing. That if it's there or not, I mean, you're going to get a different level of competition. So,
and if you weren't all the way in on trying to make this team, you'd been gone by now,
right?
And I'm not saying, and I don't want my words to be misconstrued as some of the guys that have entered the portal already, that they didn't, want to be Nebraska Cornhuskers, that they didn't want to work hard and earn their spot. That's not what I'm trying to get at. I'm just saying that the guys that are currently on the roster are working probably harder than they ever have to solidify themselves into that 85-man scholarship limit.
And also interesting too, as we've kind of been talking about with Matt Rhule and their practice schedule, how it's kind of more spaced out than it has been in the last couple of years. I mean, spring is kind of it's like a month long, and they're not having not day after day practice. They only had back-to-backs. I think the first 2 days, obviously first 2 practices. And now taking these 6 days off or whatever. I can't do math. 4 or 5 days off to get to Tuesday.
A couple days.
Yeah, a couple days off to get to Tuesday. How do you kind of feel about just that in general? Where because you could argue, and Terrell has said before that he kind of likes the idea of like they used to do it. Basically 2 weeks. It's camp day after day. And you're just all in on football and you're getting better. And it's, that's part of it is that you're coming back day after day, as opposed to, and they've lightened up since Terrell's time to now. They've kind of changed how you can do that. So it might not have been that aggressive, but it does seem more spaced out this year under Matt Rhule. And I don't know, because in my mind, that can give you, I think it's great for like resting and guys not getting injured and pushing themselves too much. I also think it could be good just to kind of keep them in that competitive football mind and spirit for a longer period of time. Though they do get the break, the month of living through spring practice, spring football, just maybe that through that duration, football is on the top of your mind more than going through 3 weeks or whatever. And then moving on to classwork, and obviously football's still there, but it's not, we got practice tomorrow.
Yeah. But and this, I have to be careful how I say this, because I'm not trying to take shots at what Nebraska used to do. The science behind football has evolved to show that taking days off in between practices is better for your body. You're not going to push yourself. So it's better for the health of these football players. So there's that aspect of things. There's also the aspect of if you practice for 2 weeks straight, for 3 weeks straight, then what do you do with the rest of the time? Are you just going to class? Are you getting into your playbook? I mean, you could have been doing what they're doing right now, where you practice for however many days, you go back-to-back days, you get a day off, you do this, you do that, whatever. And then you take a couple days off, you're in your playbook, you're still going to the meet. It's not like they're just off. It's not like they're not doing anything. They're just not on the field. They're still in their playbooks. They're still going to the meeting rooms. They're still watching film. They're all still going to be lifting, I believe, tomorrow and Monday. They're off Sunday, I believe. And then, like Matt Rhule said, some people mandatory have to go to the training room and get treatment. For some people, it's optional depending on your status. So they're still, practicing. They're just not on the field practicing. They're still sharpening their minds and preparing themselves for this upcoming football season. It's just not out on the field running drills and doing all that. It's getting all of the plays memorized in your head so you don't make a mental mistake, which is something that we've seen throughout these few years with Scott Frost. A lot of mental mistakes happening on the field, a lot of shooting yourself in the foot. They're trying to avoid that by getting their heads into the playbooks, getting themselves in the film room and talking with each other. And it's also kind of like a camaraderie building thing where, as he said, maybe they're not practicing, but they're going to go to the softball field and have a home run derby. They're going to bring their significant others, their family members, so they can all get to know each other on a more personal level, as opposed to just, oh yeah, that's my teammate. I don't know anything about him, but he lines up next to me, every Saturday and every practice. I know his name. I know his number. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, they want to get to know each other, like those teams in the 90s did extremely well. And I'm not saying the other teams didn't. I'm sure all those guys know each other. They're still, probably good friends to these days. But this is something that's extremely important to build that relationship off of the football field, so then you can carry it onto the field and be able to trust the guy to your left, the guy to your right a lot more than if you were just practicing with each other day after day and not knowing each other.
Well, and we'll have to wait and see if all this stuff kind of plays into a better program. But you just feel like with Matt Rhule, especially as compared to Scott Frost, that maybe some of these things are small, but it's the small things that matter. I mean, and Matt Rhule kind of says that you're winning. You don't win game. You don't just show up on the field in the falls and win games. You win games now. And I just always felt like that attention to detail was just not there under the Scott Frost regime. And clearly it popped its head and up in ugly situations, and Nebraska never won those close games. Again, I don't know if this is going to be a quick fix, immediate difference, because they're playing softball, together. But it's one of those small things. And again, I think a lot of those small things add up into better camaraderie, and just knowing each other better, which again will add up to a better football team down the line. We've gone through some of the Matt Rhule quotes here, talking about the team. Let's get into some of the individual talk. He talked about Bryce Benhart, Eric Gilbert, Miles Farmer, Thomas Fedone, and we'll talk about all those guys. We'll hear from Matt Rhule. Coming up next, we're going to take a quick break here on the Ticket Water Cooler. More Matt Rhule coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Keep summer green with Judson Bylene and Judson Irrigation. More than 40 years ago, irrigation started in Owens. Lawn sprinkler systems, quickie, cheapy summer job, on and forget 'em outfit, long forgotten. Call Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here. Summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of our talented, experienced A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Are you planting this spring? Make safety your priority. LES requires any landscaping or trees to plant at a safe distance from electrical lines and equipment to give crews safe access. Visit les.com/trees to learn more.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website, cpmercado.com, to see current deals.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
There's never been a better time to earn more on your checking account. Open a free Kasasa Cash checking account with Liberty First Credit Union and earn up to 5.5% APY for up to $40,000. It's simple. Open your Kasasa Cash checking account online or stop into any of the 4 Lincoln locations or Seward and Omaha branches. Liberty First makes switching easy, and Kasasa checking is always free. See libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
There's a new way to vacay when you fly LNK. Check out brand new service at the Lincoln Airport to some of America's favorite travel destinations. Catch convenient nonstop flights to Atlanta, Minneapolis, Orlando, Austin, Dallas, or Nashville when you fly via Redway. With so many affordable options to choose from, planning your vacation has never been easier. Visit goflyred.com and book today. Flights are public charters offered by Global X Air Tours LLC and operated by Global Crossing Airlines Incorporated.
Problem gambling can destroy an individual's finances, relationships, physical, and mental health. If you are a loved one or struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24 helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
We are back here on the Ticket Water Cooler. Once again, the Royals playing on the airwaves, so you can catch us on our Twitter stream, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or of course on Allo. And if you're doing so, then you know that because you got to be watching it somewhere.
Tell everybody about it. Tell everybody that you know that listens to the Ticket.
Right.
Like, hey, it's a day game going on. You can either listen to the Royals, which you should do, or listen to the Water Cooler and the Happy Hour because both of them are going to be Bach and I.
That's right. Yeah, Nick's not showing up today.
Nick's going to class.
It's time for the crossover. Nick's not here.
Yep. Oh, well. It happens.
Yeah.
We could invite Austin, and we could have a 3-person happy hour if he wants
there
to.
you go.
I don't know how much obviously he's preparing a bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know how much, how busy he is right now. I know he's busy right now, but when the happy hour, maybe we can bring him in. We'll have a 3 little round table happy hour. I don't know. Could be a thing.
Is Nick doing? He's like, I didn't know.
Hi.
This.
He just texted me.
Oh, he's texting.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, we'll find those. Thank you, sir.
I'll say Nick might be at his bug class, so we all know bugs comes before sports in Nick's world, and we'll have to work it out. But we have been going through Matt Rhule's press conference from earlier today all day long here on the Ticket Water Cooler because he gave us enough that was worth talking about. We went through some of the team stuff. Let's get through some of the individual stuff or position specific stuff. We'll start with the quarterbacks. Everybody likes to hear from the quarterbacks. Here was the review of the quarterbacks from scrimmage.
Yeah, I thought the quarterback was the best the quarterbacks have played. All right, guys.
Let's hold on that. We heard that from Scott Frost a lot. So, all right. Well, we'll keep playing it, but I don't know. Don't be throwing out the best all the time.
Stop it. Stop it.
I have a hard time believing a head coach saying that was the best. I've heard that before.
This is a different staff. It's a different best.
If they keep having their best days of practice, though, I swear.
Their best is better than the previous best.
And you hope they get 1% better. I get the idea.
1% better every day. That's why it's the best.
It's hard to hear that
better.
one. Somebody tell Matt Rhule maybe keep it, don't say that every day.
Can he say this was the most elite that they practiced?
Oh, yeah.
Are we okay with that?
That's Matt Rhule's thing. Yeah.
This is the most elite that I've seen them practice.
Let's see if he says elite during the soundbite.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I thought the quarterback that was the best the quarterbacks have played. All right, guys. I see that. I see who's loyal to me. I thought the quarterbacks played that's the best they played. It's the absolute best they played. And I think they needed that. They needed those live reps, right? Just like, when they can get hit to speed up their process. We started practice off today, man. We came right out of stretch and we went quarterbacks live down inside the 5-yard line. And what you find out is when you do that, they don't really get hit that often, but it just speeds up their process.
Too many people believe that chronic.
And so a lot of things for us right now are like just a little bit off timing wise. And what I love about our group is they're not making excuses. Like you're used to throwing this route with this guy and all of a sudden this guy's in. You have to figure it out. So I thought they played well in the scrimmage. Today was a much better day for probably the defense than the offense. The defense was significantly better today. So I'd like to just hopefully we keep volleying it back and forth as opposed to one side being more dominant than the other.
That is interesting because they didn't,
wasn't the offense ahead earlier this week, or was that last week?
Yeah, the last scrimmage, basically, the offense was ahead. The
The
defense wasn't doing, they didn't know the quarterbacks were going to be live.
Yeah.
And they also weren't really blitzing too much. They were trying to get their base defense down. So maybe they've added a little bit of that. So
have they caught up already?
Yeah.
It only took a couple of days for Tony White to catch Satterfield. Should we be worried?
We should be worried.
Up next on
Sound the
93.7
alarm.
The
Yeah,
Ticket.
that's right. Sound the alarms. The offense is going to be bad.
Oh, goodness gracious. Or the defense is going to be elite.
Yes. It is, again, it's always hard to track when you're playing one another, because I always go back to that year that we had one of the worst defensive secondaries in the nation, and we did not know that. But Tommy was throwing the ball around. This is Mike Riley. Tommy was just throwing the ball around. You're like, Tommy's taking a
We were
big
like, wow,
step.
Tommy is looking great.
He's going to be great.
Turns out the secondary was
The
bad.
secondary was awful. One of the worst in the countries. And so, it was hard to get a read on there. So sometimes I think, everything with a grain of salt. But, as far as the quarterbacks getting better, you like to see that progressing. We talked about this yesterday. I'm interested to see if there's anything behind Jeff Sims as far as competition, because Casey Thompson, obviously you kind of feel like those two guys just with their experience alone should be far and ahead. But if there's a guy, I mean, we did this way back again. Now I'm going back in my Husker history. I guess this is
here we
time
go.
for that.
Go in the Rolodex.
Yeah. But, there was a time when, obviously you thought Zach Lee and Cody Green had the experience.
Cody Green.
And those guys had to be the guys up for the quarterback, and then Taylor Martinez trotted out there and never relinquished that position.
It's like,
So,
what's up, dude?
is there a Taylor Martinez in the quarterback room is what I'm asking.
There might be, but I don't know. I don't know who it would be. The thing is, so you have Jeff Sims with 3 years of starting experience at Georgia Tech. You have Casey Thompson with 3 years at Texas, a year at Nebraska. You're not hearing a lot about Casey. That could be due to an injury. That could be due to the fact that maybe they have their starter already picked out in Jeff Sims, the guy that they handpicked out of the transfer portal. You have Heinrich Harburg, who's been getting a lot of praise, more as an athlete, really, than this has been his quarterback prowess. Logan Smothers is nowhere to be heard of. I haven't even heard his name mentioned by the coaching staff in quite some time. Richard Torres, you hear good things coming out of practice from him. Chuba Purdy, another guy who you hear bits and pieces about him, but outside of Sims and Thompson and Smothers one game and Purdy's one game that they started, there isn't a lot of experience in that quarterback room. So the fact that we're not hearing a lot about Casey, if that's an indication of things down the line, and if Jeff Sims is named the starter, and again, the big ifs, lots of ifs and buts here. Okay. I don't know anything. I'm not trying to speculate anything, but if Sims wins the job, if Casey Thompson decides that, hey, I think I could be a starter somewhere else, I think you're right back to last year's quarterback room. You have a really good quarterback that you believe in Sims, and then a lot of inexperience behind him, but possibly a lot of talent. But you're going to have to figure out how to get the best out of that talent. So if Sims, who, if we are to believe Rhule and the coaching staff, and they want to run the ball with the quarterbacks, if he ever gets hurt at any point during the season, you're going to be relying on Smothers with 1 game of starting experience at the Division I level, Purdy with 1, 2 games, 3 games of starting experience at the Division I level, Harburg with no games, no starting experience, and Torres, who's a redshirt freshman coming off of an injury.
Yeah.
I don't know what
and
to
Smothers,
think.
who's had 2 different
And
coordinators.
and Smothers. I even forgot about Smothers, and I love Smothers and Smothers. It's so strange how less confident I get if one person in that room leaves.
Yeah.
Just because of the lack of experience surrounding all of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I think that's a big question, too, moving forward. We talk about the scholarship limit and guys that might have a hard time finding the quarterback, finding a spot, I guess, on the Nebraska roster. If at the end of the spring, if Jeff Sims and Casey Thompson, I mean, those are 2 guys that should be starting. For Nebraska, you'd be more than happy to have both of them because of what we saw with the what happened last year with the backups, where they just, a significant drop off once you lost Casey. But that's a position, one of those guys. And I don't think Jeff Sims can transfer. He just transferred in. But, if it did get to like the writing on the wall was against Casey Thompson, if he wanted to transfer, he could find a spot and probably start, but just by jumping into summer ball at, a different location. I'm not saying every spot across the country, but he could find a starting spot. So that'll be interesting to kind of follow it. But, through that, you would think if he's here now, how much would a look at him in, with limited throwing change the situation that they had the conversation with him to bring him in? So I don't expect that necessarily to happen. But that would be the time, because you can't, it would be much harder to do that, going into the season and losing that in fall camp. I think you just transfer somewhere and play right away. So it's the quarterback room. It's fascinating. It's almost weird that we don't talk about it more. I think maybe some of that's just not knowing, Jeff. I think the injury certainly plays in. If both of them were going, I mean, that would be all the talk is every day. Would be asking which quarterback looks better.
Exactly. It would be that would take over spring camp. It would just be the quarterback battle. But the fact that Casey Thompson is limited in his throwing, possibly, I don't know how much he's throwing. I know that they said a couple of practices ago he was throwing a couple of shorter routes, and that's what he was limited to. We heard from Nick that Casey wasn't even with the quarterbacks in one of the practices and was just out running. I don't know if he was doing speed drills or just running to get his endurance up. Whatever was going on there, that would be the main focus of spring camp if Casey was healthy. Unfortunately, he's not. So you can say, and the coaches haven't said it, but if anybody wants to say that there's currently a quarterback battle going on between Sims and whoever else is in that quarterback room, I don't believe you. I really don't. Just because despite all the ranting and raving about Heinrich Harburg and the ranting and raving about how big of an arm Richard Torres has, that is a redshirt freshman and a redshirt sophomore with no game experience. Neither one of them has seen the field in a true game for Nebraska, I don't believe, unless Heinrich saw the field at some point last year. I know Torres didn't. So if either one of them had seen the field last year, it still wouldn't really give me any confidence in them being the starting quarterback. But with this new staff, with Satterfield leading the quarterbacks, with Rhule leading the team, I mean, anything is possible, but you just have to believe, and that's usually what happens with new coaches. They find a quarterback, and they either recruit a quarterback to come in, and that's their handpicked guy, like Frost did with Adrian Martinez, or they bring in a transfer quarterback, and that's going to be their guy from the jump. You can say there's a quarterback battle between that person and the starter that's returning, but in reality, a lot of people pretty much know who's going to be the starter.
Well, and I think that's outside of a huge jump from somebody, which is possible. When you talk about those,
possible.
Yeah, you talk about those young guys. Somebody could take a big jump. I do feel I am more interested too, but because we've kind of have these stories already kind of in our head and maybe I guess ideas of who these guys are. I am interested to see the different style of offense and how that can help those guys, because I think Logan Smothers, again, 3 years, 3 different offensive coordinators, went from an offense that kind of worked for him to an offense that really doesn't work for him to an offense now that, again, might be able to work for him a little bit better. So maybe you could have a little bit more confidence with starting him out there, even if it's not starting. But I mean, I think that's part of the intrigue too. Is like, I'm fascinated who's going to be number two. I'm fascinated by the depth chart. I'm fascinated who's going to be number 2, who's going to be number 3, and just kind of see how that goes. And then, of course, if somebody from a lower class, like a freshman, jumps a junior or something, then it might be time to move on there. But
so I'm looking at Casey Thompson's recruiting profile from when he was coming out of high school, right? And we talk all the time about how Nebraska is looking for a running quarterback, and that the quarterback run game is going to be a big part of this year's offense, or at least that's what the coaches have told us. And that's why Casey Thompson doesn't really fit, because he's not really a running quarterback. Looking at his recruiting profile, coming out of high school, he was a dual threat quarterback. He was the 16th best dual threat quarterback coming out in the nation. He was the ninth recruit in the state of Oklahoma, the 291st recruit nationally, according to 24/7 Sports Composite, actually the 14th ranked dual threat quarterback in his class. So it's not like he can't run. It's just that possibly at Texas, he went from a dual threat quarterback to having the ability to sit in the pocket and sling the ball all around. He was in the same recruiting class as Justin Fields. So the dual threat quarterbacks ranked ahead of, that's interesting. The dual threat quarterbacks ranked ahead of Casey Thompson. Quincy Patterson. Actually, I'll just read the ones that we know of. Tanner Mordecai, when he went to Oklahoma. Spencer Sanders, Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Adrian Martinez.
I know that one.
Emory Jones.
Okay.
Remember Emory?
Oh, yeah.
Justin Rogers at TCU, Dorian Thompson-Robinson at UCLA, and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Those are the
only
dual.
ones.
Those are the dual threat quarterbacks. I mean, there's more, but these other guys.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who they are. They didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Or maybe they did, but I just didn't hear about them. But whatever. Those are the guys. Jerry Bohannon at Baylor.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that are ranked ahead of him as dual threat quarterbacks in the 2019 class. So it's not like he couldn't run the ball. He just turned into a pocket passer at Texas.
Well, it's almost like his arm's so good that you rely more on.
You didn't want him to run.
Yeah. But I mean, he is at this point in his career again capable. Because you've seen him run. He's not slow by any means.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like burning speed, but he's also not incredibly agile as far as like making guys miss or anything. Just your standard pretty solid runner.
Yeah.
It's just he's got a small stature and he's been beat up his whole career. I think that's the fear
look
in turning him loose.
Okay, hold on. Look at this. Wait a minute. 2015, whatever year that was for him. What would that be? Sophomore year? I don't know. Whatever it is.
That's 8 years ago.
In high school.
Sophomore in high school.
Not in college.
I see how far you're going.
But I'm looking at his high school stats.
Yeah.
Rushing attempts in 2015, 136, 1,011 yards, 20 rushing touchdowns in high school. That was 1 year.
Yeah.
The guy can run.
Well, high school's a little different than college, but yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
He also threw for 2,670 yards and 32 passing touchdowns, only 4 picks.
Wow.
So maybe turning him into a pocket passer opened up the turnover problems.
Could have.
Whereas if you set him loose and let him run, then you'll have less turnovers and more rushing yards and possibly rush. I don't know.
Still have an
Do you like
inkling
that?
that the
Does it
quality
sound
of
good?
competition might have
I don't know what
might
you're
mess
talking
with those
about.
stats a little bit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
2015 high school stats of Casey Thompson. I did not expect to hear those, but I'm glad
Neither
that I
did I, but there you go.
I did, yeah. Now I feel smarter. I know more.
You're
about
welcome.
All right, we've got more Rhule stuff coming up. We probably should wrap up the show. We are almost over time here for the Ticket Water Cooler, but we do have the happy hour coming up next, and we'll continue to get some Rhule audio and break it down and talk about it and some of these ideas. Again, it can lead to 2015 high school stats.
Boom.
Was awesome.
Casey Thompson.
We'll do that coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM for 93.7 The Ticket.
Working at Continental and Lincoln is a career, and right now raised wages again